Modern relationships are almost impossible. I mean, they seem to be set up to fail. A lot of my reading and studying is on myths because I do think that we have, as a modern society, kind of discounted the symbols that show up in our lives regardless. And because we don't have a way to synthesize these things naturally, they come up in our subconscious. They just do. They do. So, in my reading today, I came across something that struck me as, well, no wonder modern relationships are impossible, right? So, in the West, we have conflagrated two things. We expect our marriages and our daily relationship to contain the sublime message of romantic love. So the period that I'm reading about is kind of courtly love, and how courtly love was, these women were often married to dukes, and their knight that pledged his undying love to her, it was purely a spiritual relationship. She was idealized as the most beautiful thing, the spirit of light. They'd write each other these beautiful love letters, but it was purely a spiritual union. They never had sex. They never, I don't know, in many cases, they never even touched, or maybe like a hand to a sleeve of armor. Like, there was no physicality in these relationships. And so she became the embodiment of the sacred feminine, right? And so in modern marriages, men ask of their wives to take partnership in raising the kids, take partnership in taking care of the home. Hopefully, that's a partnership, but also subconsciously be this paradigm of beauty and love and even purity mixed in there. And they wonder why they look at their wife that is alongside them toiling every day, and they're like, how come I don't feel the same way I did when I was courting her as a knight? And she's a lady in the tower, right? Because those things come through in courtship, literally. Why do you think we call it courtship? And then the flip side is, a man helps provide for the family, hopefully helps co-raise the kids, helps create, care for the home alongside you. And then you wonder why you're like, where's that knight that like courted me so lovely? So we expect this element of like sublime romantic spirituality to continue in our relationships of daily routine. That's not very easy to do. And the one thing I would offer you, you know what doesn't fix it? Fucking date night. I'm not saying don't enjoy going out to dinner and being with each other, but there's this artificial suffusion that taking your wife out, dating your wife, trying to date her again, that is very different. Entering into the courtship again to re-woo and rediscover who she is, because I bet she's changed, as have you. Hopefully, you've allowed each other to grow and change. And a re-courtship may be super powerful and amazing for your marriage. And I invite you to kind of think about that and take that on from either the male perspective of wooing your woman and the female perspective of allowing yourself to be wooed. I think that these are things that even just the change in attitude that way might bring a shift. We don't have the luxury in our lives and our task filled lives to enact, all of these things all the time. We get busy, we get complacent, and, that is the nature of things. But I'm offering you the time to pause and to take a step back and look at your marriage where, if things feel routine, they are routine, because we do need to be in a routine, especially for your children. Routine is really good for kids, right? Like being able to create a less chaotic environment, amazing. The fucking rest of the world is in chaos. Some stability is not bad. We crave the stability, and at the same time, we crave that rush of feeling that feels out of control and crazy. And I think that there's a way to have an element of both. So that's what I invite you to think about today. And to think about ways that you could start to incorporate some of these things back into your persona and your marriage. And I will see you tomorrow.